Dear students, welcome to KPS Biotutorials. In the last class of biochemistry, we have been talking about the glycolysis and Krebs cycle. These are two major pathways of carbohydrate metabolism. But in these two pathways, only partial oxidation of glucose is taking place. Only small amount of energy is harvested in the form of ATP. But you may notice that there are a lot of NADH and FADH compounds are formed. There was a lot of dehydrogenation reactions, thereby NADH and FADH2 compounds are formed. You may be curious that what is the use of this NADH and FADH2, whether it can be converted into ATP or it can be utilized for energy synthesis. That is what we are going to discuss today. From NADH and FADH to H2 compounds, ATP can be synthesized by a process namely oxidative phosphorylation. So today we are going to discuss about oxidative phosphorylation in detail. Once again, welcome back to today's class on oxidative phosphorylation. Here we discuss in detail about structure and functions of respiratory chain or electron transport system. The electron transport system is actually carry out the process of oxidative phosphorylation. Oxidative phosphorylation is a process in which ATPs are formed as a result of electron transport from NADH and FADH2 into oxygen through a series of electron carriers or respiratory chain. Here, the electrons, a pair of electrons from NADH and FADH2 is get transported into oxygen through a series of electron carrier compounds. These components are called respiratory chain. They are the components of respiratory chain. As the electrons passes through these electron carrier compounds, the ATP is synthesized. That is what is happening here. Thereby it is called oxidative phosphorylation. Here the oxidation occurs when the electron transported from NADH and FADH2, thereby NADH and FADH2 will be oxidized into NAD plus and FAD. And this process occurs in mitochondria. The Krebs cycle was also taking place in mitochondria. And these electron carrier compounds are arranged into 4 enzyme complexes, and they are called NADHQ oxidoreductase or complex 1, then succinate Q reductase or complex 2, Q cytochrome C oxidoreductase complex 3, cytochrome C oxidase or complex 4. So these are the 4 enzyme complexes which constitute the electron transport system or respiratory chain. This electron transport system or respiratory chain is located on inner mitochondrial membrane. So the entire process of electron transport system is taking place on inner mitochondrial membrane. The mitochondria is having an outer membrane and inner membrane. Here there is an outer membrane, then inner membrane. Inner membrane is folded into many foldings called crista, mitochondrial crista. Inner to inner mitochondrial membrane there is a matrix that is called mitochondrial matrix, which contain the DNA and ribosomes. And the space between inner mitochondrial membrane and outer mitochondrial membrane, this space is called perimitochondrial space. This inner mitochondrial membrane is generally impermeable to all ions. The matrix side of inner mitochondrial membrane is called N side or negative side. The cytosolic side of inner mitochondrial membrane is called positive side or P side. So the respiratory chain is located on the inner mitochondrial membrane. On the inner mitochondrial membrane, the four complexes of respiratory chain are arranged in a series of linear fashion. They are linearly arranged from complex 1 to complex 4. First come complex 1, then complex 2, then complex 3, then complex 4. Finally, there is an F1, F0 particle or oxysome, or sometimes it is referred as complex 5. So this F1, F0 particle is the site of ATP synthesis. This is actually not the part of electron transport system. Other four complexes, complex 1 to 4, they are the real electron carrier compounds. They are arranged in a linear fashion from first to fourth complex in their increasing order of redox potential. They are arranged in the increasing order of redox potential. Here the complex 1 is having the least redox potential, then complex 2, then complex 3, then complex 4. The complex 4 is having highest redox potential. That means it has highest affinity to receive electrons. It is highest readiness to be reduced. So redox potential means it is the tendency of the compounds to receive electrons. If a compound is having high redox potential, means that compound is have high need of electrons, or it has high affinity towards electrons. So in their increasing order of the redox potential, these complexes are arranged on the inner mitochondrial membrane. So what is the importance of this kind of an arrangement? As an electron comes to the complex 1, the complex 2 is located near to complex 1. The complex 2 is having highest electron affinity than complex 1. Thereby, quite normally, the electron from complex 1 will be having a tendency to be transported into complex 2. So, and also complex 3 is having high affinity to electron than complex 2. Thereby, electron reaching the complex 2 will have a tendency to spontaneously go into complex 3. Similarly, from complex 3 to complex 4. So, once an electron is transported into complex 1, automatically, quite spontaneously, the electrons get transported into the complex 4. Just like the water is flowing from a higher location to lower location. The electron flow here happens spontaneously. Then let us examine in detail about each complexes of electron transport system. First upon the first complex, that is NADHQ oxidoreductase. As the name indicates, here the oxidation takes place to NADH and the reduction occurs to Q, that means ubiquinone. Q represents ubiquinone. So here in this complex, the electrons from NADH moves to ubiquinone. Let us examine the components of first complex. Here, many electron carrier compounds are arranged in the linear form in their increasing order of redox potential. First compound in the complex 1 is FMN. First compound is FMN. Then comes the 4Fe 4S center, that means an iron sulfur center with 4 iron ions and 4 sulfur atoms. Such 3 iron sulfur centers are there. After that, there is an ubiquinone bound with complex 1, thereby it is called bound ubiquinone or bound Q. After that, again there is a 4Fe4S center. 4Fe4S center means it is a structure or a structural arrangement with 4 iron atoms and 4 sulfur atoms. Here atoms will be in the ionized form, Fe will be in Fe2 plus or 3 plus form, and sulfur atoms also there. Then the NADH produced during glycolysis or Krebs cycle or by any other from any other pathway, the NADH produced when it comes in contact with the complex 1, the electron from the NADH is get transported. A pair of electrons from NADH is get transported into FMN. Thereby FMN become reduced into FMNH2. FMN get 2 electrons and these 2 electrons attract 2 H plus ions from the mitochondrial matrix side. Thereby the FMN become reduced into FMNH2. Then FMNH2 transfer its electrons, a pair of electrons, into 4Fe4S centers. Thereby the H plus ion, 2 H plus ions of FMNH2 is get released from FMN and is get transported into perimitochondrial space. Thereby FMNH2 again oxidized into FMN. This FMN can take up other pair of electrons from NADH, and in this way the cycle continues. Then the 4Fe4S center transport its electrons into the bound Q, the ubiquinone bound with complex 1. Thereby bound Q is reduced. It will take up 2 H plus ions from mitochondrial matrix and the bound Q is reduced into QH2. The electrons from QH2 again pass into 4Fe4S center. Thereby the H plus ions of QH2 get released and transported into perimitochondrial space. So here the H plus is taken from the mitochondrial matrix and get transported into perimitochondrial space by this passage of electrons through these electron carrier compounds. Then 4Fe4S center is the last compound in the complex 1 from which the electron is get passed to a pair of electron is passed into another ubiquinone which is not a part of any complex. Thereby it is called mobile Q or mobile ubiquinone. As the electrons transported into mobile Q become reduced and it will take up 2 hydrogen atom from mitochondrial matrix and get reduced into QH2. The mobile QH2 then get transported into complex 3. So if the travel of electron is starting from NADH, it first comes to the complex 1. From complex 1 the pair of electrons move to mobile Q. From mobile Q the electrons moves to complex 3. So here the electron is not transported into complex 2. Here from complex 1 to directly into complex 3 through the mobile ubiquinone. But if the electron is starting its travel from succinate, during the Krebs cycle the succinate is converted into fumarate. Thereby the FAD is get reduced into FADH2. Actually this FAD is a part of succinate Q reductase or complex 2. This entire complex is facing towards the mitochondrial matrix. The Krebs cycle is taking place within the mitochondrial matrix. Thereby the succinate is having ready access with the FAD of the complex 2. So as the succinate is reduced into fumarate, FAD is reduced into FADH2. FADH2 transfer its electron to a series of 2Fe2S centers. This is an iron sulfur center with 2 iron and 2 sulfur atoms. And there is 3 such iron sulfur centers in the complex 2. From the iron sulfur center, the electron then moves to mobile Q, and thereby the FADH2 is again oxidized into FAD. Then mobile Q, just like in the first case, the mobile Q again mobile Q is reduced into QH2 by taking the 2 electrons from the iron sulfur center of complex 2. Then this QH2 then moves to the complex 3. The complex 3 is a particular one. It has 2 ubiquinone binding sites. One is called Q1 site, other one Q0 site. Q1 site is facing towards perimitochondrial space and the Q0 site is facing towards the mitochondrial matrix. The mobile Q, reduced form of mobile Q or QH2 will bind to the Q1 site and it releases its 2 electrons. Thereby the H plus ions, 2 H plus ions are pumped into perimitochondrial space, and among its 2 electrons, 1 electron move in this way, that is from the Q1 site into the Reiske center, from Reiske center to cytochrome C, from cytochrome C into the out of the complex 2, complex 3. Whereas the other electron move in this manner. From the mobile QH2 electron moves to cytochrome Bl, then to BH, then to ubiquinone in the Q0 site. So as a pair of electron reaches the Q1 site through the mobile ubiquinone, it is split into 2 single electrons. Each single electrons move in different ways. Then as one electron reaches the Q0 site, the ubiquinone in the Q0 site will wait for the another electron. So here, after 2 such events, Q at Q0 site become QH2. Then this QH2 move to Q0 site and oxidize it to release a pair of electron. Here, the electron from the from the ubiquinone, mobile ubiquinone H2, 1 electron move to Q0 site. Then again another QH2 will bind in the Q1 site. It will split the electrons pair into single electrons. Again 1 electron comes in this way and reaches the ubiquinone in the Q0 site. Thereby the ubiquinone in the Q0 site will get 2 electrons. As the ubiquinone in the Q0 site get 2 electrons, the ubiquinone in the Q0 site is get reduced into QH2 and it will bind in the Q1 site. Again the process repeats. This cycle of ubiquinone from Q0 site into Q1 site and again into Q0 site, again into Q1 site, as the electrons reaches the complex 3, the cycle is continuous. This cycle is called Q cycle. So actually, 1 electron reaching Q0 site will cause the pumping of 2 H plus ion into perimitochondrial space. So per pair of electrons, about 4 H plus ions will be pumped from the mitochondrial matrix into perimitochondrial space because of this Q cycle. Then from the complex 3, the electron moves to cytochrome C. There is a cytochrome C which is actually not a part of any complex. There is a free cytochrome C. Thereby cytochrome C reduced into cytochrome C minus. Then the electron moves to here. Actually single electrons are coming at a time. Because of the Q cycle, only single electron is coming to the complex 4 from complex 3. In complex 4, there is a copper center that is called CuA center. Then there is heme A center. Then there is heme A3. Then again a copper center, copper B. So here actually 2 copper centers and 2 heme centers. The heme centers are placed in between 2 copper centers, CuA and Cub. Let us examine in detail how the flow of electrons through cytochrome oxidase or complex 4 is taking place. And finally, the electron from complex 4 reaches oxygen, molecular oxygen, and final oxidation occurs by molecular oxygen. Here you can see this is the complex 4 with the copper center CuA center and Cub center. In between there is 2 heme centers with ferrous ions. As one electron reaches Cua, it transfers the electron into heme A. From heme A, electron transfer into heme A3. From heme A3, electron transfer into Cub, and finally the Cub is reduced into Cub minus. So one electron reaching complex 4 transfer that one electron into its last component, that is Cub. Thereby when one electron comes, the Cub is reduced into Cub minus. Again another second electron comes. It is transferred into Cua. From Cua to heme A. Then from heme A to heme A3. Thereby heme A3 become heme A3 minus. That means Fe3 plus ion become Fe2 plus. Ferrous ion become ferric ion. Ferrous ion is reduced into ferric ion. As these 2 electron reaches the complex 4 and it is placed in one on heme A3 and other on Cub. So this highly reduced condition will attract one molecular oxygen, and the one molecular oxygen is placed in between the heme A3 and Cub center. And here the oxygen is placed in between heme A3 and Cub to form a hydrogen peroxide like system. The highly reduced center attracts oxygen and place it in such a way to form a peroxide system. You know, the hydrogen peroxide has 2 oxygen atoms with a single bond, and to each oxygen atom one hydrogen atom is bound. In this way, similar to this hydrogen peroxide, the oxygen is placed in between heme A3 and Cub. Again the third electron comes Also fourth electron comes. These electrons are accepted by the oxygen atoms placed here. Also it attracts, as 4 electrons comes, 4 H plus ions are recruited from mitochondrial matrix and it is placed like this. It is a highly unstable compound. Each oxygen atom with 4 valencies. It's a highly unstable. Thereby, the unwanted bonds will automatically break and 2 hydrogen atom and 1 oxygen atom form a water molecule. And finally, 2 H2O molecule is released. So as 4 electrons are transported into complex 4, this complex 4 become highly unstable and abstract 4 H plus ions from the mitochondrial matrix and pump into the perimitochondrial space. Apart from the H plus ions utilized for the formation of water, it also recruit 4 H plus ions from the mitochondrial matrix and pump into the perimitochondrial space. So when 4 H plus ions reaches complex 4, 4 H plus ions are pumped into perimitochondrial space. That means if 2 H plus ions reaches complex 4, 2 H plus ions are pumped into perimitochondrial space. That means per pair of electrons reaching the complex 4, 2 H plus ions are pumped into perimitochondrial space. Apart from that, 2 H plus ions are utilized for the formation of water per a pair of electrons. Thereby we can say the oxygen, molecular oxygen, is the final electron acceptor in the electron transport system. And the water molecules formed is said to be metabolic water. Here, per pair of electrons, one water molecule will be formed. That is called metabolic water. The oxygen atom acts as the final electron acceptor in the electron transport system. So this is about the electron transport system, and I hope you all understood the topic very well. And in coming episode we can discuss how the ATP is synthesized due to the electron transport system. Thank you for listening.